time to leave this town, it's time to steal away. Let's go get lost anywhere in the USA. Let's go get lost, let's go get lost.
Well, I'm going to diverge from my usual subject matter here and cover something a little bit different. It's a question I always get asked. I always get asked on every tour, and I always ask the same thing of everybody else. Why Route 66? And the big question I always get asked is, do you ever get tired of it? Start with the first one. First one is, why Route 66? Well, it's a job. It's more than that. It's more than that. Route 66 started out as the first interstate highway across the continental United States. It's a great road. It was started in 1926 as part of the Good Roads Act. It was pushed by a guy from Kansas called Cyrus Avery. Kind of real neat history behind this guy. But it was the first real major road across the United States. And it was the first way for people and goods to get from one side of the country to the other effectively and quickly on one road, instead of just this patchwork and conglomerations of all these different roads all over the place. Before Route 66, it was a nightmare trying to navigate across the country because of different states and different roads, and some were no more than dirt tracks in the middle of some farmer's field. So this gave us one unified route. It was done to move goods and people and the military from one side of the country to the other. It has to be the one defining thing about this country, about the United States of America, that really began the social and economic development of this country. Beforehand, it was more difficult to move things from the West Coast to the East Coast and vice versa. But this made it possible. This also made it possible for the mass migration of people from the East Coast out west. Go settle west. Go west, young man. Go west. And this road made it possible. It made it easy, I should say. It didn't make people have been settling out west for almost 100 years before that. Actually, more than 100 years. But this made an all-weather route to where people were encouraging and made it more effective and easier for people to go out west and go settle out west and find their own place and make their own way, find the American dream. And they did. They did. And to me, it's a very special thing. But for me, it's also more than just a road or the development of this country. To me, it also is kind of like a metaphor. And it's a bit difficult for me to explain in words. Route 66 kind of starts off slow and easy, and you gradually pick up the pace and you get going and things get good. Things are going real good, and they just kind of glide along for a while. Then you have a few twists and turns here and there, just like life. Then you get into the harder bits, you know, and then you get to the end. And, well, it's kind of like life. Kind of strange to think of, you know, explaining it that way, but it is. It's very different. But it really shows kind of, you know, this country and the entire United States. You know, you see more of what I like to call the real America. You see the small town America, not the crap you see on television or reading the newspapers or on the internet. You know, there you mostly only ever see is the bad stuff. You know, some maniac went nuts in some city with a gun and killed 20 people, or you know, some's burning down somewhere, something like that. You rarely hear about the good or see the good. And most tourists, all they ever see are the big cities. And that's not a good representation of the United States. There's a lot of really good, honest, hardworking, good people all across this country. Very open, very kind, very, very interested in people, you know, that you don't see in the big cities. In the big cities, they tend to be more impersonal, and Mother Nature kind of rears its ugly head there with the survival of the fittest, you know, competing for space, competition. Not in the small towns. Small towns, people know each other, you know, and they're genuinely nice. They're genuinely happy to meet someone from anywhere else in the world because they come to them. They don't have to travel. So it's kind of a little experiment in sociology at the same time. So it's very different. It's very different. You know, some tours are all about the scenery. They're all about seeing the things, seeing this, seeing that, doing this, doing that. This is more about real America. It's about the small towns. It's about the little places that you go and the real people that you meet. The real farmer. You know, the farmers. You know, good, salt of the earth kind of people that you meet. You know, the guys in town. You know, you meet the real people. Not the people at the tourist attractions who smile and say, hello, how are you? They don't mean it. They're just doing it because it's their job. But in the small town, people are, hi, how are you doing? You know, hi, who are you? What's your name? And they mean it. That's the difference. And that's one reason why I like doing it. Now, another thing is, I've done it. This will be my 111th tour of Route 66. I've done it in a combination of camping tours. I used to take French kids, oh good. I used to take French kids camping along Route 66. I did that probably 60 odd times. And that was fun. I mean, don't get me wrong. I had a great time with them. You know, that's how I learned to speak French. I can't remember half of it now. But that's how I learned to speak French. And I had a good time with them. You know, and I got to know the road and I got to know my own country. And then I found my favorite, doing it on the motorcycle. Oh, I love the motorcycle. I've always been a biker. I've always loved riding motorcycles. And I always loved the country. And mixing the two, Route 66 and motorcycles, they just went together, you know, perfectly. Like peaches and cream, as we said in the South. So, it's beautiful. It was a great mix. And I never get tired of it because it's always different. It's always different. No 2 days are the same. Every group is different. The people are different. The weather conditions are different. You know, one day it's 110 degrees and boiling hot and humid and nasty. The next day it's 65 degrees with severe thunderstorms, hail the size of oranges, and, you know, 80 mile an hour crosswinds, things like that. It always surprises me. It's always different, and that's what I love about it. If it was the same damn thing over and over again, I'd have quit long ago. I would have quit long ago. I can't deal with monotony very well. I'm not that kind of person. But Route 66, it still changes too. The road changes as well. There's closed sections. Just this year, they're doing bridge work on 2 different bridges in Missouri. So I have to find my way around, you know, another alternate way. So I see a little bit more. See something, you know, something different that I haven't seen before. And so it's never the same, and that's what I love about it. The weather's different, the people are different, the group is different, the road is different, and, you know, the people you meet is different. It's always something new. It's always something new. That's what I love about it, and that's the way life should be. Once life gets so boring and monotonous that you figure, why bother? It's time for a change. It's time to go find something else. You need to be passionate in life about everything. Not just love, not just your work, but everything in life you should be passionate about. And this is something I'm still passionate about, and I hope I will be for a long time to come. So, I hope that answers a couple questions that people always ask me, and give you a little bit of insight into who I am and what the road is like, or what the road's all about. So, anyway, that's about it. Until next time, keep the rubber on the road, the shiny side up.